If you wanted to prove to society that your life matters, how would you do it? Go ahead and pause the video and jot down a few ideas. I'll wait. Oh, you're back already? Wow, that felt like no time at all. Now, let me guess your answers. I know this is totally like one of those magic videos where the guy tells you to guess a number. I'm about to blow your mind. So you want to prove that your life matters to society. Good for you. It's about time. But how? How to do it? Firstly, and clearly the obvious choice, you would make sure that society understood one simple fact. Nothing is your fault. You are a victim of someone else's ancestors. You are the victim of a government that works for everyone but you. You have no control over your life. Everything bad you've done, everything truly terrible and purely evil that you've done, it can't be you. It can't be your upbringing. It can't be your poor decision-making skills. It can't be your blatant disregard for our society as a whole. No, it's them. You know who they are. Those horrible people, the majority. It's the people who were born in better circumstances. It's their fault. Right? That's how you're going to prove to society that your life matters, isn't it? Another good way to prove it would be to align yourself in solidarity with everyone else who shares one single physical trait with you. You're going to lie for people who you don't even know. You're going to point your finger at those other people when something bad happens to one of yours, and it won't matter why that bad thing happened, right? Who cares about the facts of the situation? Who cares about why it happened? All that matters is that it happened, and it's their fault. Those evil people who are so vastly different from you. I mean, look at them. Truly, they must be evil based solely on the way they look. Thankfully for you, you have your people. People you can stand together with for reasons. Then, in an effort to prove not only how much your life matters, but how much all of your new stranger/friends' lives matter, you're going to protest. You're going to hold protests everywhere you can think to. You're going to block city streets, disrupting traffic and inconveniencing thousands of people, disrupting thousands of lives. Your wife is giving birth? Oh well, I need to stand here because my life matters. You're running late for work? You could get fired? Not my problem. My life matters. You'll interrupt parades and other city functions and events because your life matters. You'll grandstand politicians and hold hostage the attention of hundreds, if not thousands of people to make sure they all understand how much your life matters. This is how you prove your worth, after all. Not on merit, not on the good you do for society, or even just the people in your own lives. Then, when you're really feeling like you need to prove super extra hard how much your life matters, I'm pretty sure this was near the top of your list. You riot. You run out into the streets of your city, which is completely innocent of doing anything wrong to you, and you tear the place a new asshole. You destroy public property. You destroy police cars. You attack and injure dozens of police. You attack and injure any of those people who dare to show their faces when you're proving how much your life matters. Because let's be honest, if you don't riot and help to trash your city, then your life really doesn't matter at all. Did I guess right? Don't tell me, because I know the internet and I don't want you to spoil this feeling. I know I did. A few months ago, I was on the Twitter and I saw a bunch of people quoting a number as the total of people killed by police this year. I did some research and found out that that number came from the Washington Post website, which has been kindly keeping track for us. At the time, the number was in the 400s or so, and I thought that I should go through and just scope out the numbers and see if there was anything to all this hullabaloo. Well, I was busy, and so time went by until about a week ago when I finally decided to nut up and do it. When I started, the number was around 690. When I finished, the number was 702. They must have retroactively added a couple because when I finished, my total tally was exactly 700, so I'm not going to try to explain the two, all right? We're just going to work with 700. I actually saw a recent study somewhere that said most black people believe that they are on the receiving end of the most police shootings. And I think that pretty well lines up with the rhetoric of the Black Lives Matter movement. So on the outset, I thought for sure I was about to be a good ally and prove once and for all that black lives do matter because they got shot more. And clearly police only shoot people who matter, right? Much to my surprise and shock and disbelief and all the other words that mean the same thing, the numbers, well, there was some mistake. Was it possible that the brilliant Colin Kaepernick was actually an idiot who didn't know shit? Was it possible that the liberal media and everyone on the left have been pushing a false narrative? I'm going to run through the numbers that I discovered and let you decide. Full disclosure, the Washington Post left a lot of blanks in their short summaries of each shooting, especially in the race column, so I did a metric shit ton of extra research to extract as much information as I could. Strangely, almost every single unknown race on their website turned out to be white people. I couldn't possibly imagine why that is. Anywho, let's do this. 700 police shootings in the year of our Lord, 2016. Of those 700, 350 were white people and 175 were black people. So that's half as many black people as white. 673 were men and 27 were women. So if you're a men's rights activist, you have vastly more right to be upset about police shootings than women or basically anyone else. Of 700 people killed by police, 609 were armed with a lethal weapon, 40 were unarmed, and 25 had some form of a fake or replica gun. 670 out of 700 were resisting arrest. 566 out of 700 were clearly threatening or outright attacking the police. So basically, if you believe that resisting arrest is enough to get you shot, then you'd only take issue with 30 out of 700 shootings. If you think that only people attacking the police have done enough to get shot, then you can only take issue with a maximum of 134 of the shootings. And truly, only 7 out of the 700 were confirmed to not be attacking the police. Only 4 out of the 700 were confirmed to not be resisting arrest. What are these numbers? I thought police were psycho murderers. Obama and Hillary and Bernie are all talking about how we need to reform the way police operate because of how bad things have gotten. 7 100% unjustified deaths. 7. And it gets better. Of the 40 confirmed unarmed victims, I gathered that 27 were white people. The other 13 were mixed between Black, Hispanic, Asian, Native American, other. Of the 4 that were confirmed to not be resisting arrest, 3 were white people. How is this possible? I thought police were straight slaughtering black people. How is it possible that every single statistic points to 2 realities? 1, police almost never kill anyone without justification. And 2, when the police kill people, justified or not, it's mostly white people. Does this mean that white lives, systemically speaking, don't matter? A few other interesting tidbits, just because I did a lot of research and I want to share everything I found. Not just the stuff that shows how hypocritical the Black Lives Matter movement and all of the NFL bullshit and all of the rioting is. Did you know that suicide by police is an actual thing? About 100 of the 700, 1/7, made some mention of people either leaving a suicide note before pulling a gun on police or screaming at police to shoot them. 23 of the 25 people who had a fake gun were shot when they aimed their fake guns at the police in order to be killed. How is this not news? Setting everything else aside, imagine what it must do to someone to know they had to kill another person who forced them to do it. Shit, 566 of 700 were attacking the police. And that doesn't include the thousands of people who attack the police and don't die. How could anyone blame the police for being loose on the trigger? Police are being attacked somewhere in this country every single day, more than once a day. What part of that could make anyone think that disobeying one of these people is an acceptable option? You're going to mouth off and ignore the orders of someone who was probably dodging bullets 2 days ago? You'd have to either be incredibly evil and criminal or the maximum amount of dumb possible to still legally drive a car. I guess the point of this video is to just point out how backwards this whole situation is and how troubling it is for our country and for our future. The Black Lives Matter movement and everyone who believes its rhetoric, everyone who rioted in Charlotte the past 3 days, these people are lowering the value of Black lives in our society. They're making Black lives matter less and less and less and less. Every day that they blame police for their problems with a maximum of 134 possible unjustified killings, but ignore the fact that there have been 519 people, mostly Black and Hispanic, murdered in Chicago by mostly Black and Hispanic people who aren't police. Every time they ignore this, they devalue Black lives. More people have died in Chicago since 2001 than have died in Afghanistan and Iraq combined. And cops are the problem. Every time someone says that Black people can't be racist, they devalue Black lives. We should live in a world where we judge the value of each person individually and on their own merit. I personally do that already. I think most of you do too. I don't look at a Black person and jump to a conclusion. I wait for that person to sway me one way or the other, just like I wait for a white person to sway me one way or the other. But Black Lives Matter has done the opposite. They have created a movement to sum up Black people as a whole. They have taken individuals out of the equation, and in doing so, they have aligned Blackness with everything they stand for. They have lowered the value of Black lives in the eyes of millions of people. You don't prove that Black lives matter by saying that Black lives matter. You prove Black lives matter by being good people, by trying to unite communities instead of dividing them, by looking at your own people and your own communities and taking responsibility and leading the fight to change the problems from within before anything else. Malcolm X was murdered by his own people because he came to this conclusion. Why? Because true revolution is truly revolutionary. Fighting against Black on Black crime, that would be a movement. Fighting against raising your children to believe that they have nothing because white people have everything. That would be revolutionary. So to the Black Lives Matter movement, I only have this to say. Stop devaluing Black lives with your movement and do something that will actually prove that Black lives matter.